This is my talk about hacking diversity. I've been working on this since like 2013. Um, I'm Greg Thomas. I have changed my @name on Twitter. Ignore that because I changed it like 3 times ago. These are all my nicknames. Most people call me that one, so that's fine. What we're here for. Answer the question, where are the minorities outside of this room? Why are tech companies struggling with diversity in hiring? No, seriously, where the minorities at? And the tech workforce right now is 5% Latino, Latina, and 4% Black, and like 11% East Asian, and 72% South Asian. But even then, minorities are like only making up like 20-something% of like all workforce, like of the whole tech workforce. So about me, I'm Black. Grew up in Cabrini Green on the west side in South Side Chicago. Started in the Marines for 5 years. I worked as a nurse for 3. And at the time, I worked in IT for a year professionally. I still feel that way. Let's see. Ground rules. No one in this room is blaming anybody for institutional racism. Well, I might blame a couple people. Yes, we all have a burden from the past actions of people. I have burdens from people messing up money and, in my family, we all have our burdens that we all have to carry that we were all born into. There are benefits enjoyed by the majority, and it grants a level of privilege and ignorance on the subject of diversity by being a part of the dominant society. So you just have blind spots by being in the majority. Whether you're a man, you have blind spots about what women go through. If you're white, you have blind spots about what minorities go through. If you're cis, you have blind spots about what trans people go through. If you're not disabled, you have things that people who are differently able go through. So there's just a lot of different things you can't see just because you don't experience it. And just because you don't experience it doesn't mean it's something that you should get angry about when someone brings it to your attention. Like, hey, by the way, here's a different perspective because you don't have that life experience. I don't speak for every minority. I pretty much just speak for me, and I definitely don't speak for all Black people. I am here more as a guide and an ambassador, so you ask questions about things you don't know, and I can guide you to either the right resources if I don't know, or more so of giving you the information that you need so that you do know. The beginning. Majority Hispanic and majority Black schools on average sucks. Right now, there is more segregation in schools in metro areas than there was in 1970. So, schools are more segregated now than they were 15 years after desegregation. The computers super suck. Most of the people I know that went to high school around the same time as me or even later, like Hersh Metropolitan got computers you can do programming on like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And that's a major high school on the south side of Chicago. These high schools did not start really getting technology budgets or even teachers to teach them stuff until, this decade. And then on top of that, the skills they learn are different than the ones you would learn in a majority white high school. Majority white high school, you're going to get programming lessons and learn how to use Python or machine learning. You'll get introduced to the basics of that. You'll get introduced to the basics of being able to get a skill. You'll learn how to take a tool and use it to create wealth versus in a majority Black, majority Hispanic school, you learn how to use the same tool to generate wealth for somebody else. And that's where the disparity is. So you'll learn how to be a worker in a Black school. You'll learn how to send emails and reset people's passwords, but you'll never learn how to make an app. You'll never learn how to be independently wealthy outside of working for somebody else. You'll never get that skill set for a variety of reasons. And here's the racial wealth gap. So here's the net worth of the average white family of 4, Asian family, Hispanic family, Black family. And that leads us up to barrier of entry cost-wise. MacBook goes from anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000. If your net worth is $5,000, it's kind of ridiculous to spend 20 to 60% of that on a laptop. But I know most of us have done, poor hacker stuff and wire stuff together, but a lot of that knowledge came from already being exposed, like basically downgraded as opposed to not having anything and building from something. That's a much harder skill than it is to, well, I don't have the tool I want, but let me build the tool I need. But you have to learn. You have to have the tool. You want to at least be exposed to it, and you don't get exposed to it if you can't afford to be exposed to it. Let's go with society. So 1 in 15 black males and 1 in 36 Hispanic males are incarcerated versus 1 in 106 white males. Even though drug usage is higher among white people than it is among minorities, even though most crimes are committed more by white people by number and by percentage than other races. Other races get arrested more because, racism. Ethnic names or resumes get thrown out or overlooked by recruiters in tech. There are a lot of people I know with ethnic names who go by initial, last name to hide the fact that they're a woman, to hide the fact that they have an ethnic name. People do that all the time. A black male with a college degree has an equal chance as a white male with a criminal record and no degree, on average, of getting the same job. Sucks. Really, I ain't hearing nothing to add to that one. When I say hacker, there really is no examples of someone that looks like them in popular media. If you're a white guy, there's a million examples. If you're black, there's 2 or 3. Ving Rhames in Mission Impossible, Ludacris in Fast and Furious, and that one black dude from Leverage, Hardison. That's it.
Ocean's 11, didn't they have a...
Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
Don Cheadle wasn't a hacker.
No.
Don Cheadle does bombs and explosives and tunneling and drilling.
That's
Yeah,
all.
he's got radios and shit.
Rock hacking, he hacks rocks with explosives.
Another one. Okay.
Yeah, he's less of a hacker. He's not like Virgil. You're thinking like Virgil and when they're like,
Ocean's 8. Ocean's 8. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Rihanna's character, okay. And black women have one, Rihanna. But that's a good one. Rihanna's a good one.
Okay.
Rihanna's a good one. Let's be real. Arrest rates for marijuana possession. Yeah. Even though your usage is higher among white people, but And it's actually so since legalization has happened in places like Washington and Colorado, they've actually cracked down even more on minorities using and selling drugs, even though it's legal now. But they're going after like street dealers like super hard because they don't have a dispensary. Basically, it's just like going after people who are like food, people who sell like food on the street as opposed because they can't afford a restaurant. It'd be like the same thing going after that. You're basically attacking people for not having wealth because you prevented them from having wealth. And then society. Internet is extremely racist. So
Just take a minute to absorb all
just take a minute to really absorb what happens when you type in "why are black people."
Wow.
And this was made before Trump. This was during Obama when I made this slide. So just last 2 years, we've all been here. What's up?
Can you read that out for those who don't have great vision?
Which one?
All of it.
Okay. So you can, in Call of Duty, you can make your own player cards. Like your own little thing that pops up that shows your next to your name. Well, you give some 13-year-old white kids free reign on the internet with some basic painting and you're going to get that. This is a sign that says your duty to vote, don't renege. This was posted during Obama's second during re-election campaign. Let's take America back. So this was happening 4 years before Trump even showed up on the scene, talking about Mexicans are rapists. This was already, that's why when people were saying Trump, I knew Trump was going to win just because I saw this in 2012. So let's take America back. Let's make America great again is literally the next step from that. Why are black people so loud? Why are black people black? I'm not sure if I'm offended by that, but I'm a little bothered. Why are black people called spooks? Which is hilarious to look up. Why are black people so lazy? Which is amazing coming from a country that, made black people work for 400 years in fields and everybody else is sitting around drinking lemonade and iced tea on porches. But we're the lazy ones. And then this is a picture from an Activia commercial where the white woman got a white stomach, the white woman got a white stomach, the black woman also has a white stomach. Because apparently when you fix the floral gut fiber, your stomach turns white. Skin tone based paint. Because apparently that's the only tone skin comes in. So just look at anything that says flesh colored and look what color flesh they think they're talking about. Even though the majority of the people in the world don't have that color flesh. Speaking of Eve Adams, who is a very big tech recruiter in Chicago, She just told recruiters who have thrown out resumes for people with names that were too black because there's no way Shaniqua could be a developer with a ghetto name. That is something someone said to her verbatim in an email that she showed me, and it was crazy. Most people grow up, go to school, and live in racially segregated neighborhoods. Most of us tend to network when we went to school, high school, college, grade school, lived in our neighborhood. So if your boss asks you who do you know is going to be looking for a job, odds are the race they're going to be is the race you grew up around, since everything's so racially segregated. So if you're white, chances are when your boss asks, hey, I need somebody, you know any good developers? The person you're going to be talking about is white. If you're Asian, chances are the person you're going to be talking about is Asian. If you're black, the person you're probably going to be talking about could be white or black. Everybody else outside of black people tends to have a very racially segregated friend group. Black people tend to have 40% of non-black friends and 60% black friends. Every other racial group hovers around 80-90% of their own race, with about 10 to 20% of a non-minority, of a different race from them. So what do we end up with? Engineering and coding culture is highly masculinized and heterosexualized. Corporate I'm too high for that word. And educational segregation leads to the dominance of white males at all levels of computational technology enterprises. This is despite the fact that women dominate university admissions. Engineering and computer science are still male bastions. Women have been outnumbering men going to college for the past 20 years, and yet women are exiting tech twice as fast as they're entering it. Because dudes suck. What do we end with? Most of the top software companies in the world hire from the top universities, which have a comparatively tiny minority enrollment and even smaller in the STEM field, and even smaller for women. 1% of VC-backed internet seed and Series A companies have a black founder. 83% of them are all white teens. And that number's actually gotten worse. It's actually 91% now. Of all people who get VC funding are all white teens. The effects? HP launched a new face tracking webcam. Guess what race it can't see?
Asian?
Blacks. Apparently we just look like shadows. Black identifying names when typed into Google are 25% more likely to be served with an arrest-related ad, even if that person's never been arrested before. So if you type in like Devontae, chances are an arrest-related ad is going to show up. Doesn't matter what the person's name or anything like that. Just like, hey, we know some Devontaes in jail. Pattern recognition by venture capitalists and tech companies that's used to predict success tend to bear out only one type of person: white males. They go, well, we invest with white guys because, we've always invested with white guys. Like, well, you only have, those are the only groups that ever succeeded, so, because you've only ever invested in them. It's a circular loop. Which is how a lot of racism just propagates itself. It's, well, it worked for me, and I pass it down, I work in it, and that's usually how it keeps going, and no one really breaks the cycle. So let's talk stats. Research by the analyst firm Catalyst shows that companies with the highest proportions of women board directors outperform those with the lowest proportions by 53%. They have a 42% higher return on sales and 66% higher return on invested capital. The income gap resulting from a part of racism costs the United States about $1.9 trillion GDP every year. And then you have to deal with ads like this. Re-civilize yourself. Because apparently if you have an afro, you're not civilized as a black person. But if you cut your hair and then look like you give a damn, because apparently you don't give a damn if you have an afro. Yeah, Nivea catches a lot of shit because also Nivea is super racist. And everywhere that's not the United States, so India, West Africa, South Africa, Middle East, mostly pretty much second and third world countries, they sell skin lightening cream. And the ads are wild racist. And they pretty much go, hey, do you want to get a good job? Lighten your skin. Hey, do you want to make friends? Lighten your skin. And they're very popular. Like, I feel like this ad is racist, and I can't tell you why, and they got in trouble for it, and it feels very racist. And I saw the explanations for it when it came out, and I was like, that don't make sense, but I still feel it. I feel it, though. I respect the energy of it being racist, but I can't tell you exactly what it is.
Put your finger on it.
But you can't put your finger on it, but you know. It's like porn. You know it when you see it. The solution. I'm not that smart, bruh. I don't have the answers. But I have been black for almost, at that time, 30 years, so now it's 32, about to be 33. So it gives me a greater insight than most on ideas to improve diversity in this field. Tools for success, what you shouldn't do. Leave the cultural, racial, gender questions at home. Don't do that during an interview. I mean, it's illegal to do during an interview anyway, but people still do it. Don't quote a famous minority to silence minority, especially if you're quoting them wrong. Don't be that guy that literally tried to mansplain Martin Luther King Jr. to his daughter. She was like, my father, basically hated the white moderate. And somebody was like, I don't think you listened to your dad correctly. Don't be that person. Don't police how minorities in your company speak out about injustice committed in the company or field. So you got some black employees going, yeah, man, they really be not trying to hire black people. Don't jump in black. Yes, we do. We're always looking for good. We know what's happening. We're going to know what's happening more than anybody else. She's going to know what's happening about them trying to hire trans people at her company more than any cis person, period. She's just going to know. She's going to be plugged in. She's going to be looking out. People look out for people so they feel less alone. So you're going to know. You're going to be able to predict, like, man, all the black people leaving the company might be my time to make an exit. If there's 5 trans people at the company and all 4 of them leave within 3 months, she's going to be looking for the door. Even if she's happy, she's still going to be looking for the door just because that shit looks suspect. It's not okay to lean on the class of people you oppress to solve your system or discomfort with it. It is not okay for me to go to a woman and say, you need to teach me how to treat you better. That's not cool. I need to learn how to treat women like people. That's not cool to lean on someone that you're already oppressing. You're just pushing them down further and you're making them do the work you should be doing. So you're really fucking them twice. On allies. Speaking of Martin Luther King Jr., I've almost reached a regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in his stride towards freedom is not the white citizens counselor or the Ku Klux Klaner, but the white moderate, who is more devoted to order than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice, who constantly says, I agree with you in the goal that you seek, but I cannot agree with your methods of direct action, who paternalistically believes he can set the timetable for another man's freedom, who lives by a mythical concept of time and who constantly advises the Negro to wait for a more convenient season. Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. Lukewarm acceptance is much more bewildering than outright rejection. So basically, don't try to tell people when they can get free. If people are pissed, let them be pissed. If people are mad, let them be mad. But don't be the person that tries to play both sides when it comes to people's humanity. It sucks. There is no discussion, there is no debate. And whenever you try to have a debate with somebody about their humanity, you already put them in a losing position. You're basically saying, how much ground of your humanity can I take from you before that we can agree to? Tools for success depends on the avenue available to you, your department, division, company. Me personally, I'm always looking out for more minorities to hire, more minorities to train, more people to get in my field, more people to expose to my field. Even if they don't want to do it, they may tell somebody else that's like, oh yeah, I met this hacker the other day. Yeah, he was showing me this crazy stuff. And they show that person, it sparks them. So you always have to promote what we do. And promote what we do to people you know would never see what we do. If you're a hacker and you know you're in a space where, I know what most of these people never met a hacker before, introduce yourself, talk about it. Explain it. Show people that it's not some weird shit where you're typing on 4 computers at the same time with your toes and shit. It's regular sitting on your couch fucking with something for hours while watching Fixer Upper. You know. Look, don't judge me and my HGTV habits.
I like it.
Okay, thank you. Chip and Joanna gains are the best. We are not having this discussion. Individual tools versus company tools. So, like yesterday, where she talked about using the RSA. She used a company tool and company money to basically expose minorities that would never have gotten that expose and had that opportunity to do that. That's a company tool versus individual tool is going to volunteer at a place like Europe and talking to kids about tech, volunteering at Black Girls Code, things like that. That would be an individual tool to do that. Those are your tools. So company tools are internships, after school clubs, and bridging the gap and outreach. Pathways of success, trade or degree. That's been a big thing for the past 10 or so years. 30 years ago, when this field was first started, people were doing phone freak and everything else. Nobody had a degree in this. The pathway didn't exist. You know, you got good by showing people you were good, by showing different hacks, by doing that. You proved your worth. Versus now you have, and it was a non-traditional career path, and Now it's transitioning into a traditional career path, but with traditional career path comes with traditional career gates, like financing for going to college, like being able to afford to go to college, being able to have the time to go to college, because you have to work 2 jobs to make sure your family eats. Those things are gates to your being able to be successful in this field. So that's why there's the ongoing debate. I personally don't have a degree in it. You know, she's getting her PhD, and we're close to the same level career-wise. So, you know, but there's going to be a skill set that she has from being in the classroom, just in terms of writing, documentation, stuff like that she has to do constantly. But she has to be evaluated on by her peers versus me. I can just throw anything to my company wiki. No one's going to go back and, you know, do correction and give me a grade on it. So there's going to be different skill sets that we get to build, even though we're kind of in the same tree. Meritocracy or networking? Is it what you know or who you know? What do you guys think?
Who you know?
It's who you know. It really is.
I'm glad we got that across racial lines. Everybody agrees. It is definitely who you know.
It's who you know and how you know them.
I feel like that's also a very strong point, how you know them.
That's true. That's true.
Because
Depends on your
if,
SE skills.
Which
because,
ones of you did they meet?
yes.
Yeah.
Because honestly, some of the best, this is one of the best places to get a new job, at DEF CON. And that is all about who you know. And some of it, but that also boils down to the networking part. In our field especially, it's great that I know you, but what do you know? Oh, okay, you're a hacker, but what have you broken into? That's great, but tell me about your exploits. Tell me about your successes. Tell me about your failures. So I feel like even though it is a who you know, I feel like once you start getting up there a little bit in your career, people start kind of wanting to know how much you know now too. Like, great, everybody knows you, but what can you do? And so I kind of feel like it's both ways. But getting in, absolutely who you know.
Yeah.
All day, every day. Soft skills versus hard skills. There's a lot of people in this building with some super hard skills, and they have 0 soft skills. I mean, it's DEF CON, so. But yeah, I mean, and which ones are more valuable? Some say both. Some say soft skills will get you further than hard skills. Because if your soft skills are good enough, you'll be a manager and you just be managing the people with the actual hard skills. So there's a huge debate on that. And when it comes to that, there are different, like how my soft skills work from code switching might be different. Like, so a lot of black people who have to work in corporate America, I've actually go about this to explain that part, is we have to code switch. So a lot of times we have to soften ourselves, soften how we talk, change our vocabulary, just so that we're understood by people at work. So by virtue of knowing how to do that gives us the soft skills to more so navigate things differently. That's why a lot of black people have like that one other black person at work, they can go into their office and be like, bro, what the fuck, fam? Like, shit crazy. Like, where we could just turn that off and we could just be us for a second and be like, shit. And it's, you know, black people laughing because we all do that. It's a common thing. Yeah, but we all need that, though. We all need someone who we know gets us at our core to be able to go, am I tripping? Call to action. Yes, I am a criminal. My crime is that of curiosity. My crime is that of judging people by what they say and think, not what they look like. My crime is that of outsmarting you, something that you will never forgive me for. The mentor. Old school hackers know what that is. Thanks for your time, and if you want my slide deck, I have a bunch of links, and I have even more links than that in a big folder, so if you ever want, I have more links, and they're all in there, so yeah, so my slide has a bunch of links. And thank you for your time. Yeah, and I sent it to she attached it. Yeah. But that's my talk. Everybody treat each other better. Any questions?
Alright, so I do cell phone repair. I'm very complicated, you know, I'm kind of hardware technician guy. So I've had a coworker, his name was Eric, he's from the Congo. Awesome dude, amazing coworker, very good personality, wasn't very technical, and eventually we had to fire him. And I think you just hit on something that like just is crushing for me. He had nobody to go to there. We're a team of 4 people. Like, he didn't have somebody to like associate with, and I wasn't cutting it. So like, man, that's shitty. I feel really bad.
Yeah. And it happens a lot. It sucks being the lone anything. It sucks being a lone trans person. It sucks being a lone Asian. It sucks being a lone black person. It sucks being a lone woman. It just sucks when you know you're a minority and you're the only one and you have no one to defend you but you. It's a shitty feeling to go to work like that. But a lot of us have to do it every day.
Yeah, when I was a pen tester with the DOD, I was on a team of 35 guys, and I was the only girl, the only black girl at that. And yeah, it was the only black period, and 35 other guys. So it was kind of weird. But yeah, I guess I hated going to Hooters every Thursday night, but to hang out with the guys. But but it was still bonding time and stuff like that. But never got to go shopping. But I will be doing that hacker karaoke. You guys go to hacker karaoke? But we used to do karaoke, kind of bond and stuff to really, try to fit in with each other. But it was good.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Yeah, like you are more likely as being a minority. You're like, all right, well, I gotta go do the dumb shit they want to do.
Yeah.
And it's never really they want to do the dumb shit you want to do. Like it's pretty much constantly, oh, all right, I guess we gotta see scantily clad women bring us mediocre wings again.
Yeah, the only girl, the lone wolf.
Yeah, and it kind of sucks in that way, And I mean, I've heard a lot of women talk about that, like in working in corporate America, where it's just like, well, you got to do guy stuff, even though I could go for going shopping from time to time. I like buying a pair of jeans,
Yeah.
And it sucks because things only change when we speak up. It like the burden is just on us all the time. Like if we wait for other people to recognize, oh man, we're making this kind of shitty for you, we'll be dead. It's never gonna change.
Right.
So, and that's the one thing I hate to tell other people who are minorities in those kind of situations. But like I have to, you gotta speak up, or no one's gonna change anything. But you gotta speak up, and no one's gonna change anything. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Do you think that it would actually depend more on like the region or geographically like where your company is? Because I'm in San Francisco and you're in DC or you're in Chicago, so there's a big difference. I mean, you walked into San Francisco office and you're just like,
Yeah, it's like a very racist future.
Yeah, I got a question for you. In San Francisco,
Yeah.
what's the cost of living down there?
it's very expensive.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's
There's not a lot of people that can afford to live there.
that's true.
Like, my wife works in San Francisco. She works there full time, but she works from home, so we don't have to deal with the cost of living. We make a lot of money because of her job, but we can't afford San Francisco.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing too about San Francisco. A lot of us, for me, I've been there almost my whole life, so I'm fortunate enough to actually have like a place to be without having to pay like super high rent. So, if you've been to San Francisco, it's
There's a lot of barriers.
Yeah, there's a lot of Asian people there, and then I mean, I would like to think that my team, the security team in San Francisco, we're pretty diverse.
Yeah, our team.
Our
yeah,
team is
at
diverse.
work is the most diverse team in the company, probably.
Yeah, so I think I was actually the first minority on the team.
Yeah, probably.
And
We
then,
work together at Raleigh Health.
Yeah,
Ah, okay.
yeah. I would like to think we're pretty diverse, but then I think it varies from company to company. And,
Yeah. Well, I mean, most companies I've worked at, whatever team I was on was the most diverse team.
yeah,
Usually because either I had a manager that understood the importance of diversity, like Bill does,
Yep.
or I had a black manager. He was just trying to hire all the black people he knew. So it was one of those two situations. But yeah, like, and it is different. So you're like when I'm in Chicago, I do have a security community where there are black people. So just like I have both a black community and a security community that does have black people. So I do kind of have that fallback in Chicago. Not so much in Atlanta. There's more black people, but there's no real security community there. But so you kind of, how you live in San Francisco and how I live in Chicago is kind of similar. That even if shit's kind of crazy, you still kind of have a home base of like a neighborhood or community and your family and stuff like that there.
I also think it's like the upbringing, because like growing up, it's always like, oh, you should be a doctor.
Oh, yeah.
So like
Yeah.
things like that, like family, it's like they always push you towards a certain way, so you kind
Yeah.
of grow
Mhm.
up like learning these things, and just like going to school,
Mm-hmm.
like you're talking about, having the technology and all these other things. For me, it was always like, my parents are pretty open. I grew up in like all white neighborhood. Really, my wife took pictures of my classes. I was the only Asian person. I was the only minority in my classes, actually. So my parents they're pretty open-minded. They never really pushed me towards one thing. But all of my cousins are like MDs, so yeah. So I think that's another thing.
And it's kind of funny. I was thinking about that in the black community. You either get pushed towards college as a general thing, like go to college, figure out what you want to do. Unless you have some sort of physical talent, then it's you need to go to whatever sport that is and make a lot of money. At least for a man, like it's literally go to college and figure yourself out, or go play a sport. Like so when I tell people like, yeah, I mean I did go to college, but I don't, don't use that degree, and I, figure out my own path and stuff like that. It's like mind blowing. It's a third way that a lot of when I talk to like people I grew up with, go in the neighborhoods, it's just a third way they never really thought of. I'm sure you've had that too. Where people are like, you do what?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can do that that's a thing?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's crazy. Like that's what I tell people. I tell people all the time. I was like, I feel like white people hid information security as a career field from black people because they knew. They like, hey, so white people are gonna pay you a lot of money to steal from them. What? Oh, I'm signing up immediately. I get this. They are gonna pay me to steal from them, and I don't go to jail. Oh, bitch, I am there. Like that's how I got down. It's like that was, and when I tell other young black kids that, they're like, "Excuse me," and it's just a crazy thing. Because it's all about how you explain it. Like I've had people explain information security as we're here to protect the data of all the citizens and our users, and we're gonna make sure that everybody has access to privacy. Me, I'm like, "Ooh, I get to walk in the bank and steal." So but it's the same field. It's just all how you describe it. It's all about how you present it and what is appealing.
Right.
Kind of like being a recruiter in the military. Some people want to see the world. Some people want to blow stuff up. Got to appeal to what they want. Any other questions, concerns, comments?
Yeah, I was thinking, would anybody comment or talk about the fact of like coming from a minority or from a poor background and everything, then going after this, pursuing this, especially if you go a college route, then getting ostracized by your family of origin and your people in your community because you no longer fit. They don't know how to talk to you anymore. They don't know what to do and they don't understand the things that you are doing.
So I've experienced that firsthand a lot. I'm sure you have too.
Yeah.
It's a very common thing for black people who manage to rise out of poverty that you either deal with a lot of begging or a lot of isolation. It's either a lot of people basically thinking that your money is their money now,
Oh yeah.
or if you don't share as much as they feel like you should be sharing, then they immediately cut you off. Oh, I thought you was down.
Yeah.
I thought you was real.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't give me $1,000.
I can't hold
Like
nothing.
no, I can't hold nothing. You ain't gonna slide me $5. Like what's happening?
And that is exactly the same with white poor people. Like, the same coming from trailer trash. Like I get that. Like there is no difference there.
Mhm.
Like the whole thing. Like now you're getting shamed because you're getting high and mighty. Like you're thinking too much of yourself. You're doing this. You're doing whatever. So I'm just wondering like how do you approach that and still keep that love and that genuine care you've got for those people, but like, no, this isn't about you. I'm not putting you down. I'm
Moving
going
on.
after what I'm interested
Exactly.
in.
Well, I'll let you take that question, Kim, on how to handle it, because I feel like it's different as a man. Like as a man, if somebody's like, "Oh, you ain't gonna let me hold," and I'm like, "Dog, we can fight right now," and that ends the whole conversation. Like we can square up and box. So I feel like as a man, I have a much easier out than a woman would.
Well, you get ostracized by your community, by your whole family. Is that like, oh, you're better than us now that you moved to this another city and you're making more money than we are, or blah blah blah, or you get a degree or whatever. But I don't have a social life, so I just go ahead and get my degree. But anyway, but the thing is, it's like they think that you have to pay their way.
Right.
You're supposed to pay their way, but no, I got bills to pay. I got things to do with my money. I want to travel different places and stuff like that. You could do the same thing, but no one wants to, like even save their money. They don't want to even do a 52-week what it is.
Yeah, 50, oh, where you put $1 and then $2.
Yeah, the 52-week challenge. They want to do that for a vacation. You tell them about it. Hey, this is what I do. Why don't you do it? You know, but they don't want to do that. They think, oh, she going on a whim here. But no, I save up for my stuff. But yeah, you do. Yeah, I get ostracized by my family. They don't. No one calls me unless they want something. You know,
Yep.
you'll get a school graduation invitation by some child you don't even know in the family. Whose child is this? You know, you don't know my address for a Christmas card, but you know my address to give a school invitation. You know, that kind of thing. So
For a trunk party. Oh, I got it. Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy.
Well, and maybe like, what about, so overcoming internally, like the stigma of that, well, the people who have money or the people who make money are evil, or like are bad, or they're this, you know, and like personal interactions, you know, so like me growing up, the interactions that I had, like say with my one grandfather who was wealthy, he was evil. He was
Wow.
evil man. So then you kind of get that whole thing through life of like, okay, those who have money are heartless and they're horrible and they're evil and grotesque,
Yeah.
you know?
And actually, that's something I had to get over as I got my, like, I still have an attachment to being poor. I grew up poor. I was poor most of my life. 90% of my life I
That's
spent
true.
below
That's
the poverty line
That's
at
true.
some point. So for me, like, so I still have an attachment to that, and I think part of that attachment is because I associate people with money with less morals or no morals and just doing whatever it takes to make more money. Versus me, I'm like, I could never see myself going to that extreme. So that's why I feel like I hold on to call myself poor still, because I'm like, because the people who I know that are poor, I know they have much stronger morals than the people I know like with money. People I know with money be willing to do whatever. Versus people that I know that are poor are like, no, I make $22,000 a year, and I'll rather make this than compromise my morals.
Right.
So I get it. Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you for your time.